Man, I miss the old intro. I miss the old title screen. The title screen song is way too good to just disappear like that. I've taken it for granted. I never expected it would one day disappear. I haven't read these yet. I probably should have just read this on my own while I wasn't recording like I did everything else, but
shadows stretching in the dark, lone figures walking, going up like sparks. There, on an old bench, a stranger looking for peace while the shadows linger. There's no voice.
I just realized that's the only mention of nuclear weapons in this game. Nuclear weapons are obsolete after the introduction of Mania and everything else. That's crazy to think about.
Let's see the sweet light behind the mask of white. Yes, so please, let's call her real name, and maybe she'll hear our cry. So gray and there's no sky. There is no hope, there is no soul. I know somewhere there must be more.
Wow, that's a lot.
Vascular singing for no one, bittersweet nights and days without sun. Be no shy, don't flee from the light, don't seek for embrace in the arms of the night. So please, let's see the real face, let's see the sweet
They're nothing about Horo being the active leader now, due to Zoya still being MIA.
Gray, these walls are gray and there's no sky. There is no hope, there is no soul. I know somewhere there must be more.
No, nice. Where's the new thing there?
The sky begins to bloom. Welcome to Elysium. Everything you do, everything you feel's alright, alright. Walking on the sea, hear the breath of winds floating on the breeze, drifting in the freedom. Everything you feel's alright, when sun is melting in the sea, the reefs turn gold when flying rays are glittering like meteors. When miracles come into you, don't lose
The White House.
You know that things will fall apart, but not in here. You know the dreams are not just dreams, they feel surreal. You know this place is all for you. You ought to stay.
Hey, just all the info about the Undertakers are here. They don't fucking matter anymore. Here's the new thing. What's new about this? It could also be that Augustus straight up just annihilated all the existing nukes. And thanks to the fact that she existed and new powers exists now, and you know the fact that it's an apocalypse world now. It's a Mad Max world now. The straight up production of nuclear weapons was just permanently halted. And since Augustus destroyed all the existing nukes that were already built, then yeah. BFL. The moon is straight up just there apparently. I thought it was a symbolic moon. There's straight up a whole personality type thing or tendencies, which is wacky. So far, we only have Hela. I also didn't see anything new there, so what the fuck? I'm still missing logs somehow?
Using Mania to transmute metals, we can decompose, transfer, and rebuild matter until it's perfect. By mastering ash crystals, we will gain the power to resist disasters. The use of shackles, constraining Mania, and devouring black rings. All these technologies the Campbells seek but have never obtained somehow converged in a single person. What cruel past forged you into who you are today?
Good question. I'd like to know that myself. Anyway, enough dilly-dallying. What's going on? Have we been sitting here long, or is it just me? My apologies, Chief. We've hit an unexpected congestion. I've already notified the team on site and advised them to prepare a contingency plan in case of your absence. My absence? The traffic jam this bad? Can't we get traffic control to clear a path? That's Roland's group. They promote this city primacy, anti-outland, advocating for relocated settlements under centralized control. His secretary has been canvassing across East Side collecting signatures. Jesus Christ! But Roland's exclusionism has drawn opposition, mainly from immigrants and those close to them. They're not large in number, but today a registered protest march happens to be passing through this same street. Just a coincidence. Feels more like a clash waiting to happen. Precisely. That's also why direct intervention would be difficult. And honestly, I doubt either side would listen to us right now. I get it. When emotions run high, reason doesn't stand a chance. So true, but I don't believe there's nothing we can do. Chief, we must be cautious. Any move you make could be amplified or twisted by others. I don't think a black ring would form around this, but given the choice, I'd stay out of political games. But the MBCC can't ignore conflict this volatile, not when it risks triggering a mania outbreak. Said Nightingale knows that we're over-exaggerating, but... Everyone stop! He'll regret this! Stop it! Violence solves nothing! Except for when it does. Did we really think that was gonna do anything? Miss Linda, I don't think that's going to help. He hung up. Why would he? What is that? Did Keelan send it to guide us? Keelan's dead. What are you... Man, the soundtrack can't release any sooner. Does it want us to follow? A bird can fly, but we... A faint mania reaction. Sinner. Disability. Forget it. Now isn't the time. You know catalyst is a tendency, Shie. Not every sinner has powers related to violence. Ariel's one of our earliest sinners. Did she have an interrogation? I actually don't... Oh my. Do be careful, Chief. And you as well, Miss Secretary. Rushing about like that, you might have gotten hurt. Daniel, did you perhaps fly a little too They have names? You're the one who saved us. You're a sinner, and you know who I am. I am indeed a sinner, but I haven't saved you just yet, Chief. The commotion continues and the emotions are still high. This isn't quite the moment for introductions. Allow me to address the conflict first. Afterwards, we can make proper acquaintances. Shall we? You're planning to use your power on all these civilians. In their current state, exposure to mania could have severe consequences. My power? Oh, there's no need for concern. I understand all too well that power can only bring temporary calm. Lasting peace must be nurtured through genuine understanding. Please don't worry. Facilitating cooperation and compromise, even in the most hopeless clashes of interest, is my profession. It's what I do best. What are you going to do? To listen carefully for what each side truly needs, and to help them find common ground through dialogue. At its heart, peace and negotiation are simply about conversation. It's not as difficult as it seems dear. You think it would. Everyone. My name is Margaret. I once served as this city's Outland Affairs officer in Frasier. I understand the concerns on both sides. Could we all pause for a moment and simply listen? Would you grant me that? My friends, in Frasier I witnessed countless conflicts rooted in differing interests and beliefs. Everyone wants to protect themselves to secure what benefits them, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It is human nature to seek advantage and avoid harm. But first, let's ask ourselves, is there truly a conflict of interest among us right here? Looking around, I see no outsiders, only fellow Dissians. And that reminds me, I am truly home again. It brings me a sense of peace. Isn't that what you see as well? Thank you. Let me say this clearly. Since we are all Dissians, what stands between us is not conflict, only disagreement. We are brothers and sisters. No one should be driven away for holding a different view. Some believe origins should determine rights, others disagree. These are different perspectives, and fortunately, this city's system allows every voice to be heard. In Frasier, the Senate silenced the Farlanders. In the end, they lost not only trust, but the hypercube mine as well. This city will not repeat that mistake. Whether you support Councillor Rollins' proposal or oppose it, you have every right to speak. Are you so certain? Who says a future councillor cannot come from among you? Do not be afraid to speak up. In this city, there will always be people like me ready to ensure your voice is heard, so that true dialogue can take root. For example, this young lady right here. Hey yo, me? Indeed, Miss Linda. You never came here to silence anyone, did you? Everyone is seeking a platform. Your role is to gather voices, and I imagine you wouldn't mind gathering theirs as well. In this city, decisions are forged through debate. Councillor Rollins has always been confident, never one to shy from a challenge. I believe opposing voices will only strengthen his resolve and that of his supporters. Don't fall for her now. Yes, neither Councillor Rollins nor any of us fear a fair challenge. We will prove that our beliefs are sound, that they align with the interests and voices of all Dissians. If you're willing to share your views with me, I'll make sure they reach the Councillor. This is my first time seeing a This City Outlands Affairs officer in action. I'm impressed, Miss Margaret. What about Guillotine? He sulked. As long as one listens earnestly and engages in genuine dialogue, a temporary peace isn't so difficult to achieve. I haven't done anything remarkable, Chief. I'm certain you could do the same. No need to be modest. What you pulled off was nearly magical. If I hadn't watched it myself, I might have suspected your sinner power was at play. But I have to admit, I didn't expect this city's peace ambassador to Frasier to be an unregistered sinner. Oh, how careless of me. I neglected to mention the most relevant detail. My apologies, Chief. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Margaret Carvas, formerly classified as an S-class sinner. I was stationed in Frasier prior to this and never registered with the MBCC. Under protocol, my first task upon returning to this city was to report to you. This is an interrogation request, naming you as the subject. Yes, all pertinent details should be inside. I'd prefer not to discuss the matter further here, where there are too many prying eyes. To be truthful, the MBCC was my first stop after arriving. But I was told you were away on duty, and I understand your current equipment isn't suited to fully restrain an S-class sinner. I didn't wish to place your staff in a difficult position, so I decided to find you directly. You're being awfully cooperative about this. You're hailed as a hero in this city, but the first thing you have to do after returning is ask me to shackle and interrogate you. Don't you think it's unfair? Of course, I've always believed that a sincere voice has nothing to fear from scrutiny. This interrogation is simply another form of dialogue between us. I'm not afraid, so I see no injustice in it. Hostess, nice. We don't take lightly to being used. Unbeknownst to us, it's the peace dove herself who's using us at this very moment. Always lovely to see the chair not being violated. Oh, excuse me. Morning, Margaret. Hope the beer didn't treat you too poorly for your first night here. Good morning, Chief. You rested well. Thank you. Though, and I hope, this doesn't come across as rude, I would still very much prefer this to be my only stay here. This interrogation room is for finding answers, not making things hard. Miss Margaret, if you're honest with me and you're innocent, we'll both get what we need. How reassuring. It seems we share the same goal. I couldn't ask for better. If only my so-called colleagues in Frasier were half as agreeable, my work would be far simpler. I've always believed honesty enables dialogue, and dialogue enables mutual peace. But as my presence here suggests, not everyone shares that belief. It appears quite a few friends hold rather different convictions. That is something I find rather inspirational about Margaret. As someone who plays who played, I suppose, I haven't had the chance to play in a while, lots of tabletop games, I've learned the importance of dialogue, but also how pointless it can seemingly be at times. Like if there's a problem, talking it out should be the most obvious answer. It always leads to the best outcomes, the most honest solutions that leads to the most happiness. But for some reason, people are so always against it. Some people might experience this and believe that it's worthless to bother with dialogue, and as a result, they never bother with it and are always trying to ring around the rosy. But not me. And Margaret is the same as well. She still believes that dialogue is the best outcome and will always try to go for it. Because let's be honest, when was the last time being a prick of a GM towards someone who wasn't being who wasn't being nice either, ever panned out? Dialogue always has to be the way. It's hard, and I understand people want to just have fun with tabletops, but tabletops is also technically a way to feel self-fulfilled and learn and grow as a person. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me. Maybe those who aren't honest themselves assume openness is just another act. Or maybe it's like me. Do this job long enough and you get professionally suspicious. Most people avoid talking about their failures, but you brought yours up yourself. When someone breaks the pattern, I have to wonder, what are you hoping to gain? And I'm afraid you've misread me. You're someone even the steely Langley speaks well of, and you've seen my file. I'm sure my little secrets are already laid bare before you. I assumed my maneuvering wouldn't escape your notice, so I chose candor, hoping it might earn your goodwill, and perhaps an earlier release. I didn't expect it would work against me. Really, she spoke well of me. I didn't take Madame Langley for the type to discuss work with friends. Not many Paradisos nobles choose to get their hands dirty. Is that what connected you two? To be honest, it's difficult to say if Langley and I are friends. Even if I claimed we were, her answer might differ. We have differing perspectives after all. Friction is inevitable. I suppose we are peers more than anything. Kindred spirits in a way. The sort who might lend a hand if circumstances allow to one another, and to those who follow like yourself. Mind if I ask what kind of friction? Just so we're clear. Are we talking I'm a Frasier spy and she wants me dead, or more like we disagree on which foot to put through the door first? How humorous you are. But rest assured I am no spy, nor have I ever accepted a single coin from Frasier. There's no need to trouble Langley and that gun of hers. Simply put, she sometimes finds me too naive, and I occasionally find her too pragmatic. Surely you've had similar disagreements with her? Yeah, actually. I imagine she sometimes sees me as a child throwing a fit. But you as well. You both came of age in turbulent times. You traveled the far lands with your father, an Outlands Affairs officer. Oppression, independence, expansion, and stability. This city has gone through a lot, and so have its people. It's only natural that she and I see things differently. But this city you witnessed, shouldn't it be closer to the one Madame Langley knows? In Langley's words, perhaps I am too much of a dreamer. I know no matter how much changes, chaos, and conflict remain the themes of this city. If this world, yet I still believe. It is precisely because the world is this way that peace must remain our common pursuit. Most fundamental one. So true. Preach. This too naive dream of yours. Is it peace? Yes, it sounds like such a grand word. Sort an Outlands Affairs officer should champion. But to me it has always been something much more personal. It's been a long time since I've spoken of what it truly means. Since you ask, would you care to hear it? I can't think of a reason to say no, but may I ask? Why tell me? Because I've heard how you stabilized the West District and reopened the Hypercube mine. How you thwarted an Outland spy ring from undermining this city. And prevented BR-002 and BR-005 from causing greater harm. None of that was easy, and yet you've come this far. My own work in Frasier has been fraught. Whenever my spirit wavered, word of your deeds would find its way to me. It lifted me. You're talking about me? Yes, you. You showed me I am not alone in believing this road leads somewhere hopeful, and not nowhere. We may have started in different places, seen through different eyes, but we've both witnessed what the Black Rings and war leave in their wake. We both want it to end. Traveling with my father changed me for the rest of my life. It showed me the suffering of ordinary people, something one never sees in Paradisos. It showed me the power of peace. Words. Truthfully, my father rarely prevailed against entrenched interests, and he faced constant danger. But in those few occasions he succeeded. Countless lives were spared from war and torment. I wanted to be like him. That is why I returned to Paradisos. I left again for Frasier. Every path I've walked has been for that simple purpose. It's such an ideal. It is delicate. Agile. Sometimes I waver. I wonder if I truly am too naive. You may not realize it, but your actions have mended my missteps and encouraged me to keep going. For that, I must thank you. You'd never even met me. For all you knew, I could have been some glory seeker playing hero. Someone who didn't care about peace at all. Have you forgotten? I'm not merely an Outland Affairs Officer, Chief. Since going undercover in Frasier to investigate Outland collusion with the underground, I've seen my share of arrogant foxes and greedy hyenas. In diplomacy or covert work, any partnership requires common interest. Who comes out ahead in the end? Well, that comes down to skill. I may not look it, but there are few who can match me. I understand your ideals. What I don't understand is why you became a secret agent. You could have followed your father's path. Just be a proper Outland Affairs officer. Wouldn't that have served the same goal? When you call yourself naive, it's only relative to other agents, isn't it? I know you've had blood in your hands. I've read that you've been forced to leave people behind. Why choose to carry that? To be honest, I thought the same for a long time. I refused to join Langley's ninth agency. I told her I wanted no part in that kind of work. Back then, I believed an ideal peace could only be won through ideal means, that anything less would stain it beyond recognition. But that pristine little conviction of mine didn't last long. I wonder if you recall the previous Great Expo. You mean the one where BR-003 broke out? Yes. I was an Outland Affairs officer stationed in Frasier at the time. I spent years laying the groundwork, carefully persuading them to attend. I truly believed it would make a new beginning for peace. But when I returned to the city with the delegation ready to celebrate what we'd achieved, the Black Ring took everything. Didn't even have time to grieve. Was quietly conscripted, granted special clearance to become an advocate for weaponizing the Black Ring. Never believed the rhetoric, that weapons of deterrence could bring peace. But if not me, it would have been someone else. Swallowed my anger and told myself that at least with me involved I could set limits, soften the edges, find room to maneuver. I fought to impose strict conditions on its use, then leveraged that to reduce stockpiles of weapons designed for mass civilian casualties. I told myself, some things cannot be done with clean hands. Thank you. When it was over, I declined their offer to stay. Instead, I requested a transfer back to Frasier. This city's vision of peace had diverged too far from my own. I thought Frasier might be a better stage for what I hoped to achieve. What came after? Well, you can read it in my file. Outland Affairs officers always viewed with suspicion in Frasier. But fortunately, I had an excellent role model who helped me find my footing. Barely. There's nothing barely about your record. From infiltration to building a network. Every move was impressively precise. You became the city's most valuable asset in Frasier. But that's exactly why any slip-up makes them suspicious. The Farlands gained independence. Frasier was denied the hypercubes, and it ended peacefully. An outcome that still favored this city. Even if it was your slip-up holding it against you seems pretty greedy. I'm so glad we see it the same way. I had a feeling we might. There are always those who miss the bigger picture. People who see nothing beyond their own gain, yet insist on meddling and throwing everything into chaos. You sound like you've been through this before. Is this not your first interrogation? Naturally, both this city and Frasier have too many nobles and officials blind to the common people. The damn casualty figures mean nothing. The only numbers that matter are the ones in their accounts. We lay our plans so carefully, negotiate a result, only for the hyenas to come snapping at our heels, eager to overturn the table. It happens far too often. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. So you do get angry. I'm only human, Chief. Peace is a little hobby of mine. A private indulgence. Destroying it is like trampling a garden I've lovingly tended. Of course I'd get angry. But such frustrations pass. What truly pains me is friction with kindred spirits. Working toward the same goal, yet getting in each other's way, unable to accomplish anything. That is what I find truly regrettable. Are saying you and Madame Langley have had that kind of friction as well. No, I'm referring to the recent Farland independence. I was quite fond of the young Campbell girl. Such determination and talent. I even arranged a suitable position for her within the Farland Alliance. But I didn't expect her cleverness to become a double-edged sword, leading the Farland people away from the path I had envisioned. If this continues, it'll be difficult for me to offer them further assistance. Theirs will become a road of thorns. Farland independence. Young Campbell girl. You mean Hypatia, Adelaide's sister. You arranged a position for her in the Alliance. Are you telling me that all of this was part of your plan from the beginning? Yes, I have no reason to hide it from you. Many details unfolded in ways I had not foreseen, but the outcome still aligned with my design. For that, I am reasonably satisfied. You're admitting it, just like that. Nothing else you want to explain to defend yourself. Okay, yeah, I didn't think about it, but yeah, that makes a lot of this is very reasonable. Why everyone would think she's. Your thoughts now? Fuck, this is. I'm not supposed to read this out loud. I could explain, but do you truly need me to? I imagine even fragments of my old colleagues shared. You can already piece together the full picture. Yes, Fraser's role as the puppet master was exposed. The Farland Alliance gained independence. A people struggling to survive now have a hypercube mind to call their own. This is the situation I engineered. What I did has certainly harmed the city's interest. It could be called treason. But all I wanted was for the hypercubes the Farlanders paid for with their lives to belong to their comrades and their children. I wanted the newly discovered hypercube mine to belong to an independent third party. One that desires peace, help stabilize the standoff between the two powers. Not Fraser the oppressor, nor this city with its overflowing reserves. Chief, if you were in my position, the Farlanders struggle before you, the oppression of Fraser and the city behind you, what would you choose? I won't press you or rush your answer. I'm simply doing what I have done from the start, laying myself bare before you, hoping to earn your support. Because I believe that if I am to change anything, you are my only hope. But in the end, this is only my side of the story. Whatever you decide, I will understand. You're openly telling me you want to win me over. Aren't you worried I'll see it as manipulation and report you on the spot? I believe honesty is the only path to trust, just as I believe peace is the only soil in which civilization can flourish. If you truly give me no chance at all, I will accept that graciously. If you believe I should be punished for the goals I've pursued and the things I've done, then so be it. This was my decision, and I do not fear paying the price. You're right. Your motives, your actions, your consequences, everything I've heard is only your side. I need more information before I can decide. But it's been a long time since you've returned to this city. I shouldn't keep you here. How about this? You accept the shackles. I grant you clearance to free movement. And we both give each other some time. Chief, you still remember your promise and truly intend to keep me here for just one night. It's very considerate of you. I certainly won't refuse. I never expected the shackles to feel quite like this. It's as though you're always by my side, cheering me on. How reassuring. Ooh. Yeah, obviously, with how candid she was, there was no way she would have allowed it to be recorded. It is really weird how she was able to do that. Her powers aren't that vast. There's no fucking way she made friends with Zero or Moore or whoever. Well, Moore isn't here anymore. Or anyone else that was a tech expert in just the single day she had to prepare before the interrogation. Anderson. Anderson's a butler? An Anderson is a butler? Hey, this song. Is it really? Is that her sister? Counselor, your questions are indeed profound, and it seems fortune favors us. Tonight, we have the perfect guest to address them. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Peace Ambassador, former key diplomat of the Fraser Mission, Miss Margaret. She's... My thanks to the production team, and my particular thanks to Councillor Rollins for his courage, for agreeing to discuss this pivotal diplomatic matters with me directly. These are in fact the very questions that occupied my every moment during the Fraser negotiations. No thanks are necessary, Miss Margaret. Facing challenges head-on is the Dissian way, and I'm more than happy to give you the floor to explain the merits of your work in Fraser. That is, assuming you can provide a compelling reason for why you stood idle while the Far Alliance formed their little alliance and walked away with our most critical hypercube deposits. Because this city's strength affords us the rare privilege of playing the long game, of securing advantages that endure. Counselor, you speak often of this city's power. But if I may be frank, few truly comprehend what that power entails. We have the MBCC. We possess enough hypercubes to shield every Dissian with even a surplus for trade. That is the foundation of peaceful diplomacy. That is the confidence behind every negotiation. You label peaceful diplomacy as betrayal. Does that make every hypercube export an act of treason? Then let me ask you this. Why imply the entire cabinet are traitors? Why suggest Dissians are left unprotected? Are you, Counselor, seeking to undermine public trust? I'm undermining trust? Don't let her twist my meaning. Yes, we have reserves, but that is no reason to give them to the Outlanders. She was gifting nothing! You're the one twisting words here. Gift them, Counselor. Mining rights aren't quite like handing out campaign cookies. Once given, they can't be taken back. Think of it as an apple tree growing on an open land. We want the apples. Our troublesome neighbor wants them too, to fill their belly and grow strong enough to threaten us. But our home is quite far away, and the one living right beside the tree happens to be our neighbor's loyal friend. So, if you were in this position, how would you secure those apples? Keep them from that neighbor and prevent them from gathering strength to strike us? Please, let's not reduce Graves' She concerns to children's parables. The neighbor you so lightly reference is Frasier, this city's greatest enemy. The blood they've spilled cannot be compared to some playground squabble over fruit. The Great Expo, BR0005. That hatred is what fuels our fight. Miss Margaret, you make it all sound so tidy. Is that because your own sense of outrage was softened during your time among them? How could it be? It is precisely because I spent so long in Frasier that I agree with you on this. Frasier is our greatest threat, and that is exactly why we must strike at the root of their power and drive a wedge between them and the Farlands. If the Farlands gain true independence, Frasier loses its direct access to the hypercube mine, and we hold the leverage and the technology. In time, the Farlands will see that this city is the more reliable partner, perhaps even choose to join with us. This path demands no further sacrifice of this city's youth. Yet the apples and the tree itself will become ours. Let mania rage elsewhere. This city will stand secure, a beacon drawing talent and prosperity from every corner of the world. An elegant theory, but it's built on promises you can't keep. Can you guarantee that the Farlands hypercubes will ever end up in this city's hands? Oh, of course I cannot. Just as you cannot guarantee that a war would secure the mine or that every soldier sent would return home to their family. What I can promise is that my colleagues and I will devote every resource, every effort, toward a lasting solution. From the day we took office, peace has been our compass. We seek to safeguard not only this city's interest, but the life and property of every Disian. We will never balance one life against another. You! Peace is an abstract ideal, and because of that, the work to achieve it is often misunderstood, much like my friend, Chief of the MBCC, Yyyy, faced when first dealing with the West District and sinners. So I am deeply grateful for this chance to share the principles that guide me. Peace is a delicate equilibrium. It asks something of everyone, so much given with returns that often feel distant, intangible. Am I still hearable over this? I hope so. But look at the West District now. Yyyy has shown that peace alone can give without taking. That it nurtures true prosperity and harmony that includes everyone. That is the precedent we've begun. And that is the future we are building together. What now? Looking to humiliate me a little longer? Humiliate you? That was merely a spirited exchange of ideas. You held your ground admirably. In fact, it seems almost a waste for someone of your skill to remain merely a piece on that one's board. Do give my regards to your patron. Tell him I'm touched by the attention he's paid me since my return. My reciprocal gift is nearly prepared. You should await it with anticipation. I knew betting on you was a winning move. You're absolutely stellar. The numbers are through the roof. Half the audience thinks the whole segment was scripted because it was too perfect. Look at these trends. They're called trends. They're everywhere. And that closing bit where you wove in the Chief's credibility gave the whole exchange wings. It's gone completely viral. Oh, don't flatter me. Even from afar, I know how the feeds tend to amplify things. I won't take all that praise to heart. My words reach even a few people and planted a small seed for peace. That is more than enough. Who's that celebrity? We have quite a few celebrities, so... Heh. I only shared my schedule with you because I was concerned it might become an inconvenience for you. I never imagined you would come in person, and to think I was speaking so freely about the West District and peace right in front of you. Goodness, my cheeks are burning. Why? Your address was masterful. I couldn't have said it better myself. You won over nearly everyone watching, myself included, of course. Thank you. As confidently as I spoke, the truth is, I couldn't be certain how it would land until I saw the response, nor could I be sure whether there was still soil here fertile enough for my convictions to take root. I've never doubted it was the right path, but as I'm sure you understand, being right doesn't mean one will be welcomed, nor does it guarantee acceptance. But you've already earned that acceptance. Before tonight, no one had personally stepped forward to refute the hardliners or explain the reasoning behind the headlines. You made a distant concept like peace feel tangible. You showed the silent majority that there's another choice. I believe they won't let you down, just as Linda didn't. You truly think so, Chief? I'm so glad that you could see those glimmers of hope on the road ahead, too. What's the matter? Forgive me. This map, it reminds me of the global briefings I used to compile each day. Even in Frasier, there are many who long for peace, yet their voices never registers on maps like this. Frasier is now under the control of the appeasement faction, and they seem to have paused their strategy of gradual encroachment for now. But we can't be certain their ties to the underground have been fully severed. They could be incited again at any moment. The newly formed Farlanders Alliance is a coalition of desperate voices. Whether it can mature into a stable third force remains to be seen. It will face many trials, and should it fail, the cost will be measured in civilian lives. At every address I present myself as certain, convincing my audience that peace is within reach. But in my heart, I know the path to that ideal is never smooth. Even the city, seemingly solid as a bedrock, churns with undercurrents. The West District is progressing, yet the lure of hypercube profits remains potent. And that's without mentioning officials being slowly corrupted in the shadows, or the ever-present whispers from the dark web. I thought we killed that. Yikes. That is a sobering picture. But I imagine you didn't return to this city and step into the spotlight just to give up, did you? Of course not. I accepted the interrogation because compared to giving up, I have far more important work to do. I intend to return to Paradisos and reconnect with old friends, to visit the West District where you once stood your ground, and to speak with the leadership of Nirvana and Quinn. Yup, very important. Most of all, I wish to meet you and your companions, the courageous Miss Cavendish, the brilliant Miss Stewart, and perhaps, if fortune allows, the Speaker of the City Council himself, your steadfast Max King. I have always believed that success lies in human endeavor. Peace must be sustained by all who share the vision, and people are the heart of that effort. I believe that on this path, I will have many friends walking beside me. Just you. I know the answer you want to hear. But I'm not going to. Oh fuck! Am I gonna get a bad Am I gonna get a bad ending? I thought this choice didn't matter. It probably never even occurred to you that I might say no. You know me well, after all. You know what I value, what I fight for. But what made you so sure that I don't know you just as well? Don't forget, I'm the one who put the shackles on you. Bruh! Oh no, wait! That was the correct choice? Did the choice actually matter? I need to know. Okay, yeah, the choice didn't matter. What could you mean? Of course I remember the shackles. They're a testament to the trust between us, aren't they? You aren't suggesting this has all been a one-sided delusion on my part? Okay, I knew I was right to fucking say why should I fucking trust Joe? Like I said, I never thought Margaret was entirely a good person. Martyrs and saints are not a dime a dozen. I perfectly believe that they don't fucking exist. And in the fictional world of Path to Nowhere, even more so. Hey, this isn't what this is about. Damn. I'll say this I'll say that our ability to perceive others so well is thanks to Chameleon. We see her true colors. She's just a power gamer. Or, nah, there's a better word for it. Manipulator isn't right either. There are people who do things simply for the thrill. There's a word for it, but I can't remember. This is why I didn't ship Margaret and Hypatia. Her backstory at last, in more vivid detail. It sure is. Compromise is the essence of diplomacy. She's she now sees us as a trophy she wants to win. Just like Hypatia, yep. very cool. It is hard to believe that between the two F-ranks, I like Rust way more. The guy. Is unlike Margaret, she isn't very sincere. That was the one thing I knew about her from the very moment I saw her. And I like sincerity above all else, I suppose. But yeah, I don't like her. That was a great interrogation. It was nice to finally see Margaret be put in her place. I think the chief doing hype moments and aura farming again is a little too much. It kind of felt unearned. Like I said, I made a joke that it was like the chameleon. But like, yeah, our ability to weave through political agendas like this so easily, just because we were babysitting man babies, feels a little surreal. But I digress. Regardless, that was good. But I will not say that I like Margaret, both as a character and the interrogation. Well, I did like the interrogation, but I don't like Margaret. I guess at the heart of it all is sincerity. The word I had trouble explaining until now that makes me not like certain characters. Genshin Impact has a lot of characters that are rarely ever sincere. One of the characters I hate the most in Path to Nowhere, and I still don't like them to this day. Where is she? She's high level, but I haven't used her in a long time, since she sadly got a little power crept. Shalom is like the most unsincere person you could ever unsincere. If unsincere was a person, it would be her. Yelan is another character. I feel the same way about if we want to talk about Genshin Impact. And of course, there's a whole lot more characters like that. Because I think the most sincere characters are often the ones that are the most entertaining, the most likable, the most lovable. And it's also why I like villains so much, especially the one-dimensional ones. One-dimensional villains tend to be very sincere. They know exactly what they want, they'll do whatever it takes to get it. And they'll have no qualms with it. Because they know. They don't lie, they don't mince words. They simply just do. But the characters that like to ring around the rosy and play mind games are always the ones that are most frustrating for me to watch. But I suppose that is just personal opinion. There is an entire ad dedicated to Shalom when she came out, and I mean, obviously that's to be expected since she's a limited time character. But that same kind of attention doesn't happen for other characters. Shalom got special treatment both by the creators and the community. Yelan is similar, she's a very well-loved character. Actually, I suppose that also explains something about another character I quite dislike and haven't been able to put into words why I dislike them so much. Fucking Manaria Sush. Why is it in the middle like this? Oh, she's so cheeky for commoner. Do I not have? I don't have it in my computer. I mean, it's good that it's in my tablet since that's where I usually read anyway, but awkward. Mineria only revealed her sincerity. Spoilers, I suppose, for my favorite novel of all time that everyone else should read. But she only revealed her true intentions at the end of the chapter. She was introduced in as the main villain. And again, she is apparently a well-loved character, but I just can't agree. But I digress. I didn't mean to close that. I was still gonna do Helga's. I just wanna take a shower first. Oh well. Be right back.